What's up, guys? This is Mike Loris with game number 3 between Alliance, now on the Radiant, and Dignitas on the Dire. Game number 1 did go to Alliance after Team Dignitas did some really wonky stuff with their lanes. Game number 2 was a pretty high-action, long game, which, how often do you get to see games like that? So, I recommend watching game number 2. Game number 1 was not that great, but if for some reason you're here after not having watched the other two, then what the hell? Who does that? Seriously. Anyway, this is going to be game number 3, where we have Dignitas picking up the Clockwork Keeper as well as the Gyrocopter. So already they have a lot of the steampunk thing going on with the Clockwork as well as the Gyrocopter. They'll have a lot of long-range initiation, a lot of high burst damage in an AoE. But they're really, yeah, it's kind of a wonky setup so far through the three heroes that they have right now. I mean, they all work together somewhat, but it's mostly just going to be about shooting things from a distance. It's going to be a pretty large game plan for the Team Dignitas side until Gyrocopter, of course, does get his levels in. Then they could dive right in and hopefully with the BKB survive throughout the fights. But Keeper of the Light Gyrocopter should be a relatively... It might be a passive lane. Keeper of the Light really could play defensive or super aggressive, depending on what the final support pick is for Team Dignitas. If it's something like a Shadow Demon, then they could go for an aggressive tri-lane and just have Keeper of the Light be poking in the back. Or they could just have a defensive tri-lane and try to get Owie that farm on the Gyrocopter. Anyway, on the Alliance side, Lone Druid pick up for Bulldog, Magnus for S4, and Aki on EGM. I mean, Alliance could do it really either way onto EGM or Aki. But either way, they will have a good amount of push with the Leshrac as well as the Lone Druid. They should still be looking for a hard carry. The mid lane hero Magnus is they could play it like that. Last game they did put Bulldog on that Magnus, put him in the hard lane, which wasn't, in my opinion, the ideal way to lane that. I don't think it's going to be dual lanes again. They could. I mean, Leshrac and Lina, the differences between them in lane is not the largest. Leshrac a little bit more push-oriented, Lina a little bit more bursty. But really, the differences between the two is just in the Split Earth versus LSA. And if you have proper setup, then it really doesn't matter what you actually use for that secondary stun. They're both relatively similar. But they'll have a decent amount of push. If they want to go for a Chen or Enchantress, maybe they could go for some early game pushing with the Diabolic Edict. They will need a hard carry if they decide to do that, which is why we see Team Dignitas banning out the Juggernaut. Whenever there's a Leshrac and Lone Druid on the other end, you kind of have to prepare for the possibility that there is going to be a lot of pushing coming your way. Fortunately for Team Dignitas, they already are very, very well prepared to deal with that by throwing stuff at a distance. The Illuminate, the Flares, the Gyrocopter with the Flak Cannon, which is good at drawing the aggro and then clearing off the creeps, will make the pushing a little bit more difficult for Alliance. But I mean, banning out the Juggernaut, banning out the Alchemist, they're mostly just taking heroes that carry heroes that do offer a pushing element with the Acid Spray, which is what Loda does like to get with the Alchemist after a couple levels of Greed, couple levels of Concoction. And then, of course, the Healing Ward, which, combined with the Bear, combined with the Leshrac, and possibly a Chen or Enchantress, is something you really don't want to deal with because it makes nuking the waves so much harder. And Alliance are going to go for the Ogre Magi once again. We've seen this a lot. We've seen this hero a little bit more as of late. They go for the Fire Blast as well as the Bloodlust build, which I'm still not entirely convinced that it's superior to the Fire Blast Ignite build, but that's only because I guess I haven't seen that being used at all. Just all the pros seemingly agreed on the fact that Fire Blast Bloodlust is better than Fire Blast Ignite, which, I mean, I would like to see both of them being played so I could really make an accurate judgment for myself. But either way, the idea behind this is get a setup stun for the Leshrac, which Fire Blast is a setup that does damage as opposed to the Bane or the Rubik, which their setups don't do any damage. They just are pure disable. Ogre Magi does add that additional element of damage, but what he gives in damage that way, he takes away, he kind of lacks in the poking and auto attack harassment department, so you should make a trade-off there. And then the secondary function of the Ogre Magi is, of course, to buff up the Bear. Get the Bear with that Bloodlust. I do know that Alliance have run a Treant Protector with the Ogre Magi before, and putting the armor on the Bear also does help. Team Dignitas going to go for the Warlock, so far they have a really casting heavy lineup on their side. The Golem definitely going to help against Alliance, having that show-stopping ultimate. It's going to be very useful for them. Will also give them a good deal of mid lane control. And Magnus versus the Warlock should be a lane that the Warlock should be able to win. The harassment from the Fatal Bonds as well as Shadow Word. Oh, and Alliance going to go for the Mirana. We've seen this exact same lineup, I feel, done before. Was it? Yeah, Alliance ran this in an aggressive tri-lane up top. This is exactly what they did versus someone else. I don't remember who. I think they were definitely no Tidehunter back then. They definitely ran this and ran this successfully. It actually worked really well. The Ogre Magi stun as well as the Leshrac stun means that the Mirana has more than enough time to land an arrow. They sniped off a couple supports who were trying to do pulls with just a little bit of roaming from the Ogre Magi as well as the Leshrac, and then they actually got loaded a lot of farm on the Mirana. So it's going to be a very ganking heavy lineup for the Alliance side. Late game, they will have the Mirana scaling into the late game as well as the Lone Druid, but Mirana really isn't the most capable of late game carries unless she has an absolutely devastating early mid game. But really, the triple stuns on this aggressive tri-lane is going to be a little bit rough for Team Dignitas to handle just because of the range at which they can get initiated upon. However, if they do run Gyrocopter, Keeper of the Light, and then possibly the Shadow Demon, I think the Shadow Demon would be the best support choice by far for Team Dignitas, unless they want to run Warlock in the support, but I don't think that's what they do. Getting that Shadow Demon will protect whoever gets Fire Blasted instantly, unless of course it is the Shadow Demon, then it's like tough luck, pal, you're on your own. But if the Keeper of the Light gets Fire Blasted, however, then you see Leshrac winding up for the stun, instantly disrupt on the Keeper of the Light. That means no arrow, no split earth, and what's actually going to be the Earthshaker. Team Dignitas ran this in game number 1 to limited success, I should say. Putting it generously, it was limited success. But the Earthshaker kind of does the same thing. If you see them moving in, you put down a fissure, and well then that should be the end of the aggression. The problem with that is that Shadow Demon actually has a lot of mana, or relatively with the Earthshaker, of course. He has a lot more mana, so he can cast several disruptions. Way Too Sexy, once he casts one fissure, that's pretty much going to be it. And additionally, like Team Dignitas, if you see the Alliance side moving up for aggression, that's when you would ideally want to cast the fissure. Ideally, actually, after the first Fire Blast. But once they all start getting into position, you want to block off their movement. You're going to cast the fissure early. That's opposed to a Shadow Demon, which is if once you take the first hit, then you cast the disruption. So that means that Alliance, if Team Dignitas picked up the Shadow Demon, that means that Alliance would have to commit a little bit more before they actually get that fight denied. So it would have been better for Team Dignitas, in my opinion. The Earthshaker would have to do it preemptively and doesn't have enough mana to really afford to do that unless he stacks up on Clarities, which he might do. But it's still going to be a little bit more of an awkward situation for Team Dignitas. It will give them a massive amount of team fight, which so far they do have a lot more of that than the Alliance side, who only have the Magnus, whereas Team Dignitas have the Warlock with the Chaotic Offering. Fatal Bonds is going to be devastating combined with the Call Down as well as that Echo Slam. So if Team Dignitas can find their late game team fight, then this Earthshaker really going to pan out for them, as opposed to the Shadow Demon, which doesn't really offer as much. But yeah, I believe that is it. Let's go over who's playing what. It's going to be Owie 2000 once again on the Gyrocopter, sneaking on the Warlock, looking to solo up that mid lane. Universe on the Clockwork, probably going to head towards bottom. Fogged as well as Way Too Sexy on the Keeper of the Light and Earthshaker. Going to be supporting this top lane where they're going to bet by the aggressive tri-lane of Alliance. Aki is on the Ogre Magi. EGM on the Leshrac with something on his head. Horns and vines. Okay, that's kind of weird, but we'll go with it. Loda is going to be hard carrying, in air quotation marks, hard carrying that Mirana. Mid is going to be S4. And on the bottom lane, we do have Bulldog, who looks like he got demoted once again. Is Private actually the lowest in the Navy? I have no idea. I feel like I know it's the lowest in the Army. Do they have the same thing? I could look it up, but I'm not going to. Bulldog is seemingly dropping lower and lower in military rank as these games progress. But hell, whatever. It's his decision to be named what he wants to. He's going to be on the bottom lane versus the Clockwork, so not going to be the best lane for Universe. He's definitely going to get zoned out relatively hard by this bear, take a lot of harassment whenever he decides to move in. Regen Rune, going to be picked up by the Clockwork, so take that bear. You're going to take that 13 damage, 20 damage, and you're going to have to go home with that. Universe will be able to survive and get levels on this lane. In all honesty, though, Clockworks usually are used to facing a lot more difficult lanes, so Lone Druid against Clockwork is a lineup that I'm sure Universe will be okay taking. although it is Bulldog on the other end. That means he's going to get entangles whenever he damn well pleases, and it's going to feel a little bit unfair. Best of luck to this Clockwork to not get entangled and get killed. We do see sneaking in this mid lane versus S4's Magnus, already starting off with 1 point in Shadow Word. Not the highest damage spell, especially at level 1. We actually see Aki as well as EGM might be trapped a little bit. Fog does spot out EGM, and Earthshaker is around, but I don't know if they can actually win a duel. EGM does have Split Earth, Aki is the Fire Blast, and Ogre Magi is incredibly tanky as an intelligent support hero. So picking a fight might not be the best idea. They're actually going to move towards sneaking, where he is a little bit out of position right now. Aki and EGM from the high ground, already S4, starting off with the aggression. Where's the Fire Blast? There it is. Combining up with the Split Earth, they do have Skewer, but it looks like they won't even need it. S4 draws first blood after very, very easy rotation from the two supports on Alliance. Sneaking really, I feel like every time Warlock is picked up, this happens. He just gets picked off really, really early. And, well, really, there's not much that you could do about that, but I guess they should have known that Aki and EGM were there. I mean, they saw them right here, and it'll only be logical for them to follow this short path into getting a kill like that. Now, EGM, as well as Aki, continuing to do their very, very heavy roaming style. They do have Loda to support from far away, so even if EGM and Aki decide to pick a fight, they'll have that additional support from the arrow that will pretty much guarantee in an environment like this where there's no creeps in the way. And Way Too Sexy now gonna think about launching a fissure. Aki gonna get the Fire Blast off first. Illuminate gonna fly through, hit EGM. The arrow is going to fly, gonna completely miss. Aki probably gonna fight Way Too Sexy a little bit, although EGM moving northwards as well. Wants Way Too Sexy. There's the fissure. EGM in a very, very bad position. Aoi wasting a lot of time away from the lane, but he will get in close. The Rocket Barrage will get him one kill. Can he get another? Way Too Sexy is out of mana, however, will have enough in just a little bit. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the arrow is going to fly through, shutting down any further aggression. Way Too Sexy does have the mana and the cooldowns for more, but he can't find it. Aoi chasing a very, very long way for that. That means that he's pretty much, well, he's given Loda just that much more time in the lane. Level 3 now on that Mirana, whereas Aoi took a really long tour away from that tower. In the end, did get a kill, but yeah, it's definitely not a free kill. He did spend a little bit of something in order to make that happen. But you could see this effective roaming from Alliance, just pressuring Team Dignitas, leading them on wild goose chases, really wasting a lot of their time away from the lane. That time didn't really pan out for them. EGM as well as Aki got a little bit cornered. But hey, if you play that aggressively, you're going to be taking risks. Bottom lane, 5-0 is the score for the Clockwork versus 14-6 in the Lone Druid. Universe did find himself in invisibility room, but EGM getting trapped in a fissure. Beautiful fissure from Way Too Sexy. Aoi's going to close in for that Rocket Barrage, but there's just so many creeps right now. EGM going to walk out of there very, very easily. Loda very, very weak as well. Threw out the arrow, not sure if it hit onto anyone, but no kills on this top lane. At least not now. Universe, yeah, really getting outlaned by this Lone Druid. Putting yourself in a melee versus Lone Druid case versus Admiral Bulldog, not going to end well for you like 99% of the time. Warlock, level 4 on this mid lane. S4 still having a decent hold on this lane, although both of them are even on the CS. The Warlock is just looking for his level 6, but Warlock, the Magnus already is at the level 5 mark, so his Skewer is going to be hitting pretty hard versus Sneaking, who looks like is going to max out the Shadow Word. Wants to have as much damage and as much harassment as he could possibly get against this Magnus. Still waiting to see the full combo of the Alliance tri-lane right now. A Fire Blast into a Split Earth into a long-range arrow into right clicks. Dignitas have so far been pretty good at playing that defensive role. Aoi do a little bit of creep jacking on. No, that was actually his creep jacking on his ally, and then get trapped in the wave. Aoi is gonna steal all the experience, all the gold, and we do have Aki as well as Loda moving around, possibly looking for an hour opportunity. You have a relatively defensive ward right here. I mean, usually the action was happening in this area, in which case, well, they want to have EGM and Aki being able to spot out whoever's coming in. Also for Loda's arrow, make it really easy. There's the missile being set up. Fissure going to fly as well. Rocket Barrage onto 2, however. Aki's going to take an Illuminate. No, it's just barely going to miss. Arrow going to fly point blank onto Aoi. The missile is not going to do enough damage, but it will be destroyed nonetheless. So, in the end, another fissure being used, and Way Too Sexy burning through his clarity slowly but surely. He will not have any money anytime soon for a set of arcane boots, and well, this aggression, they need to actually make something happen with it. Gyrocopter, to their credit, is getting farm 14 for 1. Loda is, however, 19 for 2. And you really don't want this to happen if you are running the Dignitas tri-lane. You want Aoi to be getting all the farm with Way Too Sexy as well as Fogged, just playing that support poking role, making sure that everyone on Alliance stays back. And they are staying back, but they're not staying back far enough so that your gyrocopter can actually get substantial amounts of farm. So until they have a really solid fissure, and possibly call down is going to be the point where gyrocopter is really going to be truly effective, then I don't think Team Dignitas are going to get any kills on this top lane unless EGM or Aki or both get way out of position. We can see Leshrac actually 2 points in Split Earth, still deciding if he wants to go for Edict or Lightning, not spending it into the stats. Kind of a weird decision, never seen this before on Leshrac, but hell, maybe he wants that extra burst damage, maybe he wants to go for a push if things get to that point. We do have Way Too Sexy and Fogged looking for a block off onto Loda, but once again these pulls constantly from EGM. Fisher's going to hit onto Loda, but he's fine to slip right through there. We see these pulls constantly being used by the Alliance squad. It's going to be a lot of farm for Fogged, a lot of farm for Owie, but it is going to mess with the aggression just a little bit. Having these creeps here basically acting as an additional ward for Alliance, as well as a buffer for the Earthshaker who wants to get in closer, and Gyrocopter with the Rocket Barrage will be forced to hit on several creeps. So it's pretty good playing by Alliance in this top lane. Still haven't yet to go super aggressive on the Team Dignitas, but the Earthshaker and Keeper really just doing their jobs to keep everyone back. We now do see the Warlock has the level 6 mark, wants to use it. Universe doesn't have the level 6 just yet, and Bulldog, he knows something's coming. He knows something is coming because there's no one on the middle lane. Universe taking a good amount of damage from that bear actually. And to get a secondary entangle, the bear might actually get a kill here. Sneaking, gonna throw the heal or throw the nuke onto Admiral Bulldog, as well as that fatal bonds. But you see, just with 2 entangles, Universe forced to teleport out of there. Now we see Sneaking. The Hunter may have just become the hunted. If the bear gets an entangle right now, this could be the death of him. Although it looks like EGM as well as the Ogre Magi not actually going to do it. Spotted out by the illusion. Everyone from the tri-lane up top has gone, and Loda not getting any kills, but he's definitely getting some farm. The problem though is that even though he is getting more farm than Owie, Owie's going to use the farm better, just because Mirana as a carry hero doesn't really have the tools, doesn't really have the stat growth, doesn't really have the kit necessary to be a carry hero unless she gets a lot more than the Gyrocopter. And Gyrocopter has flat cannon, so he'll be able to flash farm very well. He has the early game potential of Mirana, at least to the same degree. So Mirana really needs more if Alliance are going to be effective with this hero. Still has yet to hit the level 6 mark, in which case they can still set up some pretty good ganks. But Loda so far has been relatively successful, but not successful enough. Fog now might be in a little bit of trouble. RP being used onto that Keeper of the Light for a kill on S4. Despite the heal, despite the rocket flares from Universe, there's still no hook shot, so you really cannot save Keeper of the Light. Level 4 versus the level 8 on the Magnus, using that haste rune as well to get in close. So far, both teams relatively low kill count to this particular game. S4 still with that haste rune, 36 for 10 versus the 33 for 8. Warlock still has that chaotic offering, wants to drop it as soon as he can. Usually when you do drop that chaotic offering, it does result in a kill. Aki wants to go for a push on this bottom lane. Bloodlust on the bear. Look at this bear. This guy's freaking huge with the demolish as well. Illuminate's going to fly through, but really Bulldog not caring too much. The tower is going to drop, or it's going to be close. It's going to be put into deny range, so the bear, you have to finish the job at this point. The bear will get killed. Universe looking for cogs, will not find it. Is now level 6 though. Get the hook shot, throw it out, right onto Bulldog. Out of mana, will have enough mana for cogs, especially if he gets set up with that chaotic offering. Bulldog gonna get trapped in there, and the Moonlight Shadow will not be in time to help him. But the Moonlight Shadow might have been actually used to set up this top lane kill. We do have a Magnus with a skewer, no RP, gonna dive the tier 1 tower. Owie, really freaking scared right now. You have to drop the call down immediately. There it is, but it might be a little bit too late. He is too late. Second missile's gonna hit. No, it's not gonna hit onto EGM actually, which might have been a kill. Way Too Sexy is gonna get out of there. Loda did have an arrow, was thinking about it, decided against it. So it is going to be a kill onto Admiral Bulldog on this bottom lane versus a kill from the Gyrocopter onto the top lane. So in the end, it is a 1-for-1, a relatively even trade, all things considered. Although they also forced out a teleport scroll from Way Too Sexy, and at the same time, Alliance did get the tier 1 tower. So I think Alliance are going to be okay with the aggressive play of Admiral Bulldog, who did in the end die, yes, but they drew out the ultimate from the Warlock. They made sure that they secured the tier 1 tower as well. So it's all going to be good for them moving forward. Loda getting a little bit more experience, a little bit more gold from that assist, is now going to be freely up on this top lane, where I don't quite remember what Mirana went last game. I think it was Yasha Desolator, although I could be completely wrong. I'm not too sure what it might have been. Yasha Manta Desolator. I don't remember. But Loda will definitely be building into a little bit of aggression on this top lane. Bulldog might once again be in trouble. They just need a single little bit of sight onto this lone druid, and then hookshot is going to fly. They do not have the chaotic offering, however, so Bulldog is going to be relatively safe being such a tanky hero. But all five, they really want this guy dead. Teleportation is going to come in. It's going to be S4 with an RP and level 4 skewer. Howie going to thin out the creep wave as much as he can. The fatal bonds on the Magnus. There's the flare. You spot out completely everyone who's coming in. Illuminate's going to fly through, not hit onto anyone. Way too sexy, wants in. But Dignitas wasting a lot of time right now. They have to either take the tower or a whole bunch of kills, ideally both. But as of right now, they're giving Loda free time on this top lane to take his tier 1 tower. They're giving EGM on the mid lane to get a little bit more farm as well as a little bit more experience. And they're not really making anything happen. They're chipping at them. S4 is a little bit weak. Cogs are up. They actually caught the bear. They will be able to bring this bear down with that rocket barrage. This bear should die. It's not going to die. Okay. Fissure. Okay, now the bear is trapped. The bear should die now. Kill it. Please just kill it. Kill the bear. Get it out of the way. Bulldog doesn't resummon, however, so it's an additional gold. There's the hookshot in onto Aki. They're going to kill this Ogre Magi. Moonlight Shadow is going to fly, but Aki, he's actually going to get out of there alive. There's no true sight. There's no nothing. Aki's going to live. Oh, no, he's not going to live. Shadow Word. One more tick. 3-man in the RP, though. Loda's here for the Starstorm as well. And 1, 2, 3 bounces of the Lightning is going to get 3 kills. Now Fog getting entangled. The Universe is going to put up the cogs and try to teleport out of there. He will make it out alive, but it's going to be 4 people down for Team Dignitas, wasting a lot in the end to kill Aki, who does in fact go down in the end to the Warlock Shadow Word. But the RP from Alliance catching Team Dignitas off guard, and then the AoE. It's not that huge for Alliance, but still, 12 minutes into the game, Starstorm is going to do a lot of damage, as is the level 3 Lightning, level 4 Lightning now on this the Shrek. Arrow gonna fly, being narrowly dodged by Way Too Sexy, gonna throw a fissure, but instantly the skewer back rather onto Universe. The Warlock Golem, as well as the call down being dropped onto Admiral Bulldog, is gonna result in the death of S4. Bulldog is on the run, should die to this, especially if they take down the bear, which they do. The Fatal Bonds is going to trigger off all that damage and will kill him off. EGM on the run will survive. Oh, wait, or will he? Hookshot from Universe, gonna find that kill. Well done by the Clockwork. Now with the Warlock Golem, they're going to try to take a tower of their own, trading tower for tower. There's going to be a lot of blood on the fields of battle tonight. Dignitas getting their team fight together, using the Golem, not getting hit by the RP is also a key part of their strategy. And it is going to be, well, an almost team wipe in exchange for an almost team wipe. Tier 1 for Tier 1. In the end, relatively even as far as all the trades are concerned, but we'll actually take a look and see how even it is. Alliance a little bit ahead as far as in the gold per minute chart, a little bit ahead in the experience, but still this game is, it's pretty neck and neck. Alliance do have a much stronger early mid game as opposed to Alliance, who will have the Fatal Bonds, who will have the Echo Slam, as well as the Gyrocopter, and Gyrocopter Fatal Bonds hurts like hell, let me tell you. So Dignitas do have a better late game, although Alliance do still have the advantage in this early mid game, which is really what you expect. They would need to really build up their advantage just a little bit more in order to secure their late game, get Loda a little bit of scaling damage, maybe get Admiral Bulldog a couple more items, because right now he doesn't really have anything, doesn't have his armlet just yet. He has taken a couple deaths. Sneaking, gonna get stunned out, skewered back, or Split Earth, maybe not skewered back. He will die regardless though. Aki taking a good chunk of damage from that Illuminate. S4, really, really big. Has a blink RP, wants to use it onto someone. He will not find anyone, however. It looks like Alliance going to force the issue on this bottom lane. Magnus going to find a regen rune. Maybe they're not going to, actually. Owie still pushing up the top lane. S4 is going to come back to defend this. And Team Dignitas, a lot is going to be reliant on the Fatal Bonds as well as the Gyrocopter in this game to really clear out the HP pools of Alliance. Because Alliance, they have a lot of stun, and if they could get Moonlight Shadow as an initiation tool, then it's going to be really, really difficult for Team Dignitas, especially if Sneaking gets picked off that easily. He needs to stay alive, he needs to drop his ultimate, as well as Fatal Bonds. Once he gets that, he could die, no one really cares, but here we go. Big Moonlight Shadow gank. Is there any true sight? There is not. EGM spotting everyone at the bear is visible, but actually looks like they're going to decide against it. So Moonlight Shadow being used to absolutely no effect. But in the meantime, they do have S4 in this top lane. Spamming out that shockwave, pushing out this wave. He does have regen rune as well, so he'll be at full mana relatively shortly. Loda has gone for a Maelstrom. He's going for a little bit of pushing, going for the attack speed magic damage build on the Mirana. I do like Maelstrom on Mirana. I feel like it makes sense. It's going to be a tier 1 tower for possibly a tier 2. I don't think either tier 2 tower is going to drop, but for sure this bottom lane is going to drop. Let's see what Team Dignitas want to do to defend. They're going to bring Fog towards the mid lane where Arrow is not going to be met. They're going to bring Aoi there as well. Top lane tower still taking damage. Aki is here to defend. Only level 5 on this Ogre Magi. Aki really suffering in the levels department right now. He would at least like that multicast. Don't know how Leshrac is such a high level where Aki is not, but either way, Ogre Magi going really light this game. Level 6 on Ogre Magi, it does make him a little bit stronger, but it's not the most dependable of spells, so it's not like a huge jump. It's not like level 6 on a Lina or a Lion. It's a little bit more bland than that. However, level 3 Fire Blast, that's really all you need for a very soft Earthshaker who might now be dead. No, maybe not. Maybe not. S4 has a blink to an RP. He could catch a couple if he decides to go right now. Aki forcing everyone back. They don't really know how many people are in this mid lane. They know that Aoi is definitely not here. But they don't know where Universe is. He could be friggin' anywhere with the armed hookshot. And Alliance not going to risk it. Just going to settle for getting Admiral Bulldog a little bit more farm. But they will have the armlet completed on this bear now. So this bear will be hitting pretty damn hard. And Team Dignitas, it will be another guaranteed link for the Fatal Bond. So a lot more damage is going to be traded if this bear does get hooked up to everyone else. But the bear at the same time will be doing a lot of damage himself. Switch from on the mid lane, Team Dignitas got to defend their tier 2s. Loda going to run straight into a whole mess of heroes. Is there going to be a fissure? The stuns might not really work out just because of the way Fissure acts. It might be a little bit more hurt than good. Oh, now blink to RP. Aoi going to get caught out of position, skewered back into the clutches of Admiral Bulldog. He's going to try to drop the call down, but he knows he's dead. He's going to turn and fight, do as much damage as he can before he does go down. But in the end, he does in fact go down. And Dignitas lose their hard carry, who is just a little bit out of position, pushing very aggressively with no support anywhere near him. To be honest, Aoi was actually kind of asking for a death sentence right there, and well, Alliance are just all too happy to oblige him. Now Fog trying to defend this bottom lane. Aki going to lead the charge though. If he could find a Fire Blast into Fog, do some pretty heavy damage, even though it only is a level 3 Fire Blast. If he gets a multicast, that'll hurt. That'll hurt something real fierce. Team Dignitas right now, they're very reliant on their ultimates in order to fight, at least until Gyrocopter gets a little bit bigger. But Gyrocopter has gone for more of a utility build, going for the early game items, going for the ring, going for the drums. It means he's not going to have the hugest right-click impact for quite a while. And Call Down as well as the Rocket Barrage definitely will hurt. And it's going to hurt even more if they're all tethered up because of the Fatal Bonds of the Warlock. But other than that, Team Dignitas don't really have too much late game scaling right now. So they're really reliant on the Warlock ultimate. They're reliant now on the Echo Slam of the Earthshaker as well as the initiation from the Clockwork. And if that doesn't happen, if Alliance continue to play the skirmish... Oh, that was so freaking close. If Universe was just a little bit quicker, that would have been his death. Good thing Clockwork is bad at right-clicking things. If he was just a little bit better, if he just had like 86 damage instead of 79, then Clockwork would have taken that arrow straight to the face, he would have been dead. Yeah, but anyway, Alliance, they have a little bit more of a skirmishy lineup. Mirana, the ultimate skirmish hero with that Moonlight Shadow. Druid doesn't really have to stick and engage either. He could stay at a distance and poke with his bear. S4 is the only hero on Alliance who really does like to go in and stay in with the RP, wants to catch a whole bunch of them, wants to have them all wiped out at the same time. But if they could play the skirmish game and really pick off Team Dignitas one after another, then they're going to accrue a lead that Team Dignitas, even with their massive ultimates, won't really be able to withstand. So, you know, Alliance just have to play the heavy ganking role, which is so far what they've been doing. This could, however, be a trap. Way too sexy, looking awfully tasty in this mid lane, although Sneaking and Fog both showing themselves. This would be suicide for S4 and Aki to jump in, even though Loda is around with an arrow. It's going to be a hookshot in from Universe, going to catch Aki. Instantly try and teleport out under a battery assault. No, that's not going to happen. Aki going to take an Illuminate straight to the face, will bowl him over. Now S4 wants to blink into an RP or a skewer into RP or something, but the Sentry Ward is there. No fooling, way too sexy. Arrow's going to fly, hit onto Universe, and Loda wants to do a little bit of damage. The Echo Slam is available, but really the Earthshaker cannot get close enough. Is nowhere close to his Blink Dagger. Also would like the Arcane Boots first. So in the end, it is only going to be one dropping for Alliance, the level 6 Ogre Magi, 20 minutes into the game. It's not really a huge loss for them. I mean, the Ogre Magi is pretty much the weakest hero on the Alliance side. Even though Shrek technically does have less HP, he can put out just so much more damage. And Ogre Magi at this point should just like forget about Ignite, just max out the Bloodlust. That'll actually help his team. Putting that Bloodlust onto the Spirit Bear, hell, even putting it onto the Mirana will mean that you get more Maelstrom procs. Would not be a bad idea whatsoever. And although you don't really want to sacrifice the aggressive spell casting power of the Ogre Magi, I think when you're this low on levels, it's better to just scale. Like, the raw numbers aren't going to be affecting the game as much as these raw numbers. Like, the raw damage numbers aren't going to be affecting as much as the movement speed and the attack speed going 20 minutes into the game. So I think Aki should just, dump the rest of his points into Bloodlust, then move back into Fire Blast. And usually you would say, well, what's the big deal? Just get both of them. But the way this game is going, Aki is not getting much experience at all. 117 per minute. He is hurting on levels. And you're going to have to be very, very economical with your skill points. So I do think that'll be what would give Alliance the most bang for their buck. Because really, they just need a play stun from the Ogre Magi. And level 3 on the Fire Blast does do some pretty good damage, especially if he gets a multicast. So the most bang for the buck will probably be Bloodlust on the Bear, Bloodlust on Loda. Forget about any more points of Fire Blast, but we'll see what he actually wants to do. Loda is going to use Morbid Mask plus a Maelstrom. Kind of an interesting combination between the two. I mean, Mirana doesn't have the hugest base damage. He does have a couple damage items, but I'm guessing it's just so he could farm a little bit more effectively. I'm not too sure. They do stack. Like, whenever you proc Lightning, you won't lifesteal. But I'm guessing the idea from Loda is if I get a lot of attack speed from the Bloodlust, from my items, just buying up attack speed, then I'll be doing a lot of damage. But if you get a lot of attack speed, you won't be lifestealing huge amounts. You have to find that good balance. I would expect Morbid Mask to come up maybe in 20 minutes after he gets a whole bunch of other items, such as Mantis Style, such as the Mjolnir finished. Then maybe go for Helm of the Dominator, get a little bit more bulk, then you'll actually be doing some decent right-click damage. But right now, this is fairly early for lifesteal. He could definitely steal a little bit of health, but still, I'm not sure what he wants to do with this. Probably will head towards a Yasha or a Mjolnir. Might just be the Mjolnir. Who knows? Mirana's going to be firing pretty damn quickly, that's all I know. Now Roshan being attempted from Team Dignitas. They don't really know where the enemy is, and way too sexy. He is way too out of position. He is so dead right now. Just need a bear to turn around. There's the hook shot in. Gonna catch S4. There's gonna be no blink into RP, but Universe actually moves straight towards Loda, where he's gonna get hit by a Starstorm. There's the RP onto 3. Clockwork dead, as well as Earthshaker dead, and the rest are shortly to fall. Warlock does get his golem out just in time, but it's gonna be a little bit too late. Everyone from Team Dignitas getting caught in that RP after having the Clockwork getting a little bit too ahead of his teammates. And, well, the Warlock Golem was used, but to no effect. Team Dignitas couldn't get a single spell out. No Echo Slam. The Warlock Golem was not used in a timely fashion at all. And that's going to be Alliance knocking on the front door of the Dignitas base. This tower is not long for life. S4 looking for Blink and Obscure. Will find it onto Fogged. Wow, how did he find that angle? He will get the kill on the Keeper of the Light, which means no more counter push. It means these racks are not going to last very long at all. The Bear with the Basher, with the Armlet, with the Demolish. Even though Team Dignitas are coming in, I don't think Alliance are going to back off. They want these Raxes. They will get them as well. Wage Sexy even getting hit by an arrow straight through the creep wave. Loda gonna find that kill. Actually, S4 with the Shockwave gonna jack that kill. Melee Raxes have been taken. I feel like Alliance could even stick around for just a little bit more if they really wanted to, but looks like they don't even have to. GG's the call. Way too sexy has had enough. Universe going to jump right in, and this is for his last dying wish, but he's going to get pushed all the way back through his cogs, and he's going to go down as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, 24 minutes into the game, Alliance really putting it to Team Dignitas. I don't really know if this Mirana pick really pulled its weight. I mean, there were a couple arrows. Starstorm is definitely nice. I feel like what really made the game for Alliance was S4. He had so many Blink Skewers, he had so many Blink RPs, and Team Dignitas just kept on getting caught out by that. Mirana's ultimate definitely helped. That's probably, I guess the Mirana pick was justified. Mirana definitely carried her own weight, although not in the damage department, more in the utility department with the Starstorm as well as the Moonlight Shadow. So, no, turns out that Mirana is decent in the hands of Loda. Who knew? Actually, we already did know that because we already saw that before. Anyway, guys, going to speed the rest of this up. I hope you guys enjoyed this set. There are about 15 more games, about 3 more pages of replays to go through. I think this might be the last game before the playoff bracket, so there'll start to be some winner bracket, loser bracket stuff going on. I will make sure to get the right ones onto those titles. I'll make sure to get the brackets into the titles, and then yeah, hopefully you guys should all know how the tournament's going to shake out. Although you probably know the results already. I do not know the results. I have no idea who goes where. I have no clue. I worked really hard to avoid any sort of spoilers. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. GG.